You see, he got his revelation from the spirit world. Do we even need to go further? The only thing I can agree with Mr. Steiner is that he said that our body is able to heal itself. And that's what we also believe. But it doesn't mean that I should subscribe to all of the things that he was promoting. Not at all. Because they are basically against the scripture. If you could read Leviticus 19:31, what does this say?
1931.
Yes, 31.
Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God.
Exactly. Do not seek after familiar spirits. So they are getting their information from the spirit world. He was getting it just like our next guy, which is Edward Bach and Paracelsus. They're both were getting directions from the spirit world. So Edward Bach moves us further to flower therapy. This is something interesting because the remedies, I have seen them in a big chain, in a big holistic kind of natural treatment, chain in the UK, and they're selling Dr. Bach flower essences. So flower essences, again, not scientific. He believed that they collected the water from the dew on the flowers, believing that it contains the energy from the sun and all that stuff. And he developed, he was homeopathic physician, a psychic, a believer in subtle energies.
Wow, a psychic. So he was talking.
Psychic, yes, he was having extrasensory kind of,
feelings.
38 different flower essences he has developed, and they're still available after more than 80 years. So flower essences are directed mainly at treatment of emotional imbalances and personality dysfunctions. He felt that illness was a reflection of disharmony between the physical personality and the higher self or soul. So just like with homeopathy, it's the same basis.
They sell also tinctures for kids and even animals. Also for flower essences.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I don't know how it works for animals, but the video I watched, it was explaining that kind of the dog and the children trust parents or the owners, so that's why they just take it. But somehow, for some, I guess it works, I don't know, but they say they have to take different dosage for it every time. So, yeah, but again, there's no, as I said, there's no biochemical background on how it works at all.
Yeah, but I think what I've mentioned, is the way how they're prepared is flower essences prepared by placing the petals in water and in the sunlight. Specific homeopathic and flower essences, that's an interesting fact. For homeopathic and flower essences, how they are actually administered, like how does the homeopathic doctor knows what to give you. So maybe not all the time, but some of the times they are picked using pendulum, seances, astrological signs for the diagnosis. So you see, it again goes back to...
So again, they don't have a knowledge on which plant or flower could help according to your problem.
It's the spirits that are guiding them in the choice of the specific tincture, whatever, homeopathic. So the quote that occultist Douglas Baker discusses the underlying theory in the use of flower remedies in his book Esoteric Healing. He states that Dr. Bach had discovered that dew which accumulated on the petals of wild flowers before sunrise was changed dramatically by the presence of sunlight, so that it now had an energy potential within it. Each plant's dew had a quality of its own, a type of energy absorbed into the dew, that could be used as a specific remedy. We should not be surprised after our careful examination of the occult forces, a plan, that these could be applied to correct imbalances in the astral and mental auras of man. Well, you can see the language that he's using. It's not scientific language. It's more like a hocus pocus,
spiritual things.
Yeah, and theories that are coming through the spirit world. And
auras, astral imbalances.
Exactly.
Sounds like Hinduism as well, where they use,
you can see what
auras, chakras.
The people who they associate and people who are quoting them, occultists. So it's really dangerous stuff. It's like it's presented in such a nice packaging. Flower essences, what a beautiful thing,
how can it be wrong? Flowers.
Yes, flowers and herbal stuff and all that stuff. We should always research the people and theories behind it.
Everything is so
scientifically proven? Like, is it scientifically proven because of biochemical properties? There is a substance that is helping with this. Mint is calming or whatever, But if it's going beyond that understanding, this is very dangerous. So moving then now to essential oils, because this is very similar to flower essences is like homeopathy, and essential oils is like herbal or phytotherapy. So we have the comparison between the two because one is more like about spiritual side of it, and essential oils like isn't oil extract. What can be wrong with it?
I love essential oils myself.
Exactly. So you're interested to know if there is any danger in it. So again, like I said, with phytotherapy, the danger is when you are applying these spiritistic philosophies behind it, when you are using it not because of its biochemical properties, like
or because it smells good.
Or because it smells good, right? But because you believe that they accumulated within themselves a very strong, forces like we were talking about before. So the fragrances are extracted from plants by removing oils, which are called essential oils. The danger lies when we use it because of some vibration or high frequency due to its spirit connection. And the reason why we should be using it because of the biochemical properties, like the chemicals in an aroma such as eucalyptus oil is soothing to an irritated throat and bronchus and are used for respiratory infections. Or oil of peppermint is used for simple gastrointestinal distresses due to its biochemical properties. Again, so it's depending on what kind of philosophy, and there is a lot of, again, this hocus pocus wording. And by the way, this is the book that I've got a lot of information from, because it's written by a doctor who has actually studied all of these references, and he's got like more than 700 references where he got the information from. So I will just read a quote and you will see, by yourself. 20 years ago in aromatherapy, there was an unwritten rule. And by the way, this is from the guy who is in support of the aromatherapy. So 20 years ago in aromatherapy, there was an unwritten rule that we would not be open about the spiritual side of the essential oils we worked with. We talked about the anti-infectious qualities and the beautifying effects on the skin, about any number of benefits to body and mind. The positive spiritual changes were recognized, but silently. It seemed far too bold to suggest light and wisdom of the universe flow through them, their fragrance like messengers from heaven, aromatic angels that come and touch us with the positivity and love of the deity. With an etheric quality, essential oils activate the receptors of love, compassion, and empathy. They are an informational network carrying messages and crossing boundaries, operating on many different levels. Through them, we can contact the wisdom of nature, the power of light, the energy of the universe, and the love in our hearts. Does it not again sound like a lot
Do you
of
think it can
spirit.
affect our spirituality if we're gonna apply these essential oils directly on ourselves, or if we're gonna put, let's say, in the diffuser for aromatherapy? Because if it's just for the room, I don't think like it can affect personally us.
As
You know
I
what I
said, it's like, what are you using it for? Are you using it because of biochemical properties or because you like the smell? Or are you using it because you believe there is a spirit attachment to it, like the life force in it that comes from the all permeating God, of the whole universe?
But as before I mentioned, you don't have to believe it, you just believe that it might help you. But with your mind, you don't do it consciously, like about homeopathy, that they don't know about all these things behind the stage, but they still use it just so it will help them.
Like, if I know that definitely peppermint oil has, like we said, soothing qualities and it's biochemical, property that it has, I could use it. I don't use any essential oils. I just like the smell of it, like you say. But if something would be promoted to me, or it can correct your aura or whatever, or it can correct an imbalance in your body, then I would be I would definitely not take it, but I would be very prayerful in why I'm using certain things. But yeah, it should be because of the biochemical properties, not because of some kind of spirit attachment.
I agree.
Yeah. So moving on now to Paracelsus, another guy who was having contacts with the spirit world, and he is also an occultist, and it's kind of known because if you read about him, you just read about it. It's not hidden anywhere. And Paracelsus was the one who developed a recipe for a very famous Swiss bitter. And this recipe has been passed on through generations, and another guy by the name of Carl, and I forgot his surname, we'll include it in the video, he got it as well, and then it was passed on to Maria Trebon. She found it in Carl's notes, and she has kind of basically written it down, and now it's being sold everywhere. So what kind of danger is there? Because these are also plants, and again, so we see that this guy had a connection with the spirit world. Again, in choosing what kind of plants he's going to use for the Swiss bitters, we don't have maybe written, report about it, how he got, into the choice of the plants. But I've heard there was somebody who was saying it, I cannot provide a reference for it, that even Maria Trebon was guided by Maria Magdalene, a mother of Jesus, yes, into choosing of the plants for the Swiss bitters. I'm not sure why she needed to be guided. If she had the recipe, maybe there is something else.
Where is this information coming from?
Again, I cannot provide the reference because it was another ex-healer that was saying that this is how she got information. But we don't even need to go there.
Yeah.
We can just stick with Paracelsus because, as we said, if you want to know whether it's safe or not to use, you have to just go to what these people believed. And he clearly did not believe in the same God that we believe. And he also was having these revelations from the spirit world. And a few cases that need to be mentioned that people were, some Christians were stopped from drinking Swiss bitters just before they did it, clearly by the voice of the Holy Spirit telling them to throw it away. It's an abomination, without any knowledge as to why. And then later on discovering that it goes back to this occultist and stuff like that. I'm not saying, it's obviously not scientific facts that I'm presenting, but homeopathy can't either present scientific facts.
Yeah.
But I'm presenting it for Christian world so that they would abstain from these things. And we even have a personal experience like yours to say that it's dangerous thing to use. And you can share with us your story.
I'm having a friend who is working as a herbalist. I don't know if he's gonna watch this video. But it was very interesting because I've got sore throat, and then it turned into tonsillitis, and I needed to heal it immediately. I knew that apple cider vinegar mixed with water helps it, but I was working and I didn't have time to gargle my throat a job. It would look really not nice. And he told me that he has a tincture which can help me. And on the back of my mind I was thinking, is it okay to take this tincture?
Because you already knew a lot of things about it.
Because I knew about the background of some herbs and some specific brands and how it can affect you. So I've said yes, but I wanted to know the list, and he wrote down all the list of all kind of herbs and plants and flowers, which is going to be mixed all in a cough syrup, and a bit of alcohol to preserve obviously the goodness of the herbs, and it looked all familiar to me.
So you were trying to get him the list so that it's not homeopathy.
Yes.
Because we knew at that point that homeopathy is bad, but we also knew that Swiss bitter is also bad.
Yeah. So he made a list, and it looked for me absolutely fine, because all these plants and herbs, I know that they have certain properties for throat or to help you to fight diseases. So I saw nothing wrong with that. So he brought me that tincture, and also it had a cough syrup, and he said this is a secret cough syrup, of some 1645, I don't remember what time. And I was like, what is in that cough syrup? I was quite curious, but he didn't tell me because he didn't know the actual recipe, but it's just old cough syrup which was used for a long time. So I've been using it for a week. Honestly, it didn't seem to be working much. I was just getting better, I think, already, because I was also gargling my throat. And
you were just already healing.
I think I was getting better.
1 week is enough to heal without anything.
Well, I didn't have any complications, because if you don't heal it, then you can have complications and you need to take antibiotics. But I did get better, and after 1 week, since I was working in a coffee shop, we had a customer who was coming to our place almost every day, and I knew him very well. And the day before I went to my work, I had a kind of a dream, or kind of like between you being awake and dream. And I saw him coming to our coffee shop, and I saw him as
the customer,
The customer, yes.
The specific customer you saw.
Yes.
Not just any.
So, in my dream, it was specific customer who I know, who is coming to us regularly, and he mentions to me that someone who is close to him, but in my dream, I knew it's a woman. It's a woman, definitely. So it was either his mom or grandma. Said she passed away. And as soon as I woke up, I totally forgot about it. So I went to my work. The day was going just as usual. And later on, that customer came in, and he starts a conversation. We talk, and then he says, "Oh, by the way, my nana has died." And that moment, I kind of
suddenly
woke up, and I was like, "What am I hearing?" And I immediately remembered my dream. And I was like, "Who? Your nana?" He said, "Yes, my nana has died. She passed away today." And I had the goosebumps on my whole body, because I was like, how is this possible that I saw this dream the same day, the same morning, and then the same customer, and I knew in my dream that he said somebody passed away. It was a woman, and the same day he says that to me. And it never happened to me that I saw prophetic dreams, never before. So,
and the moment that you told me that you had this prophetic dream, my thought was, why? And then God doesn't send dreams just for no reason.
Yes, because what was the point for me to know
that
in advance that his grandma
died? Yeah. There is no reason for it.
Yeah.
We know that these kind of things predicting things like dreams and pregnancy predictions.
Yeah.
They're not godly. We will have
this
to
is
discuss
another topic.
it in another
Another
completely
topic.
different. Yes. But then I was like, Lord, what did you do wrong? Like, what's going on? And then it came to my mind, I don't know when, I was questioning what was in that cough syrup. It just came to my mind, what if it's a Swiss bitter?
Yeah.
It's just like this. And then you have asked, yes? An herbalist.
Yeah. And he said that it is Swiss bitters cough syrup. And
Wow.
Yes. So it took me a long time to get to that answer, but yeah, because I didn't see from any other source I could have that dream. And obviously people who were not Christians, they would just say, oh, you just are
Very sensitive.
you're sensitive,
Yeah.
you have a gift, and I said, no, I don't, it's definitely
Yes,
not
it's
godly.
like with that girl who was able to hear what parents were talking about through walls and through floors, yes?
Yeah, I just
Same.
knew it's not godly, and I don't want to have that kind of gift to see the bad events which are gonna happen. So I obviously renounced it. I asked forgiveness, and since then everything was fine. But you really have to be very careful, because even when you think it's still fine, there might be some things which can be like underlying. Like I thought, well, everything looks innocent, and cough syrup, I was like, just probably classical cough syrup, nothing else. But no, there was something else behind it, and since then I was like, I'm not getting into that ever again.
I don't want our viewers to think that, oh, how can we, protect ourselves because now everything is poison and everything's dangerous and blah, blah, blah. We have to use reason, we have to use prayer, we have to, because God is leading. Like my sister, she took it, but eventually God revealed that was the problem.
Yeah.
We should be very careful with those same herbalists who also use homeopathy, because they don't have a gift of discernment. They don't know, what's wrong, what's not. For them, Swiss bitter is just...
For them, if it works, it's good. There is no kind of like effect on their personal life or spiritual life. For us as Christians, we should be very aware and discerning which things can affect us and our spiritual life, because what can be worse than losing, your connection with God? Exactly.
And this is the reason why God is prompting us to do these videos, so that people are getting this information. And yes, we want to expose it so that more people are aware where their spiritual problems might be coming from, or why they're having these prophetic dreams or hearing voices or whatever.
There are no videos even on the homeopathy of how it influences on your spiritual life, and how it can affect you in a bad way, not in a good way, obviously. Like, there's so little information, and people don't have this information, so when they don't see the side effects, they might just take it and think, well, I'm so desperate, I'm gonna just take it so it will help me. But this is why we make these videos, just to warn people so they will know what they're dealing with.
I think a very good quote to finish our presentation would be this one. That which gives power to these holistic methods is the act of giving our will, or the power of choice, to that power. The physical methods of therapy are meaningless. It is the acceptance of the method and its perceived power which then allows Satan to exercise his control over us. So what it means is that the stuff is useless in itself. What gives power to it is when we give control over our lives to Satan by accepting it, by accepting the treatment method, by, accepting all of these different things that he has created.
Yeah, because we gave our choice to Satan, pretty much.
Yes, I choose homeopathy instead of God's healing method, and therefore you are giving your will, and therefore he is able to work in your life.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all about the power, the choice that we make for God or for Satan. So we need to make a very, very careful decision with it. And I think, is there any other thought you wanted to mention? Because other than that, I would want to say that we will link the resource materials, like the books that we've used, all down below. And we will also list the companies that we will find who are involved in homeopathy, anthroposophy, and all of these kind of spiritual healing methods.
For additional information.
Yes, thank you so much for watching, and we will hopefully see you soon in the next video.